Imagine walking into a casino and feeling the pulse of excitement, hearing the whir of slot machines, and catching glimpses of hopeful faces. Every person is chasing that one moment, the life-changing win. Now, picture a man who not only reached that pinnacle, who actually hit the jackpot worth millions, but instead of celebrating or cashing in, he quietly turned his back on it all and walked away. No fanfare, no explanations. The moment he left, he transformed into something much more mysterious, an enigma that would haunt the casino and captivate everyone who heard his story. They called him the Phantom Gambler, and his decision to leave millions behind has become one of the most whispered about legends in gambling history. Who was he? And what could drive someone to abandon the kind of wealth most people only dream about? Join us as we delve into the strange case of the Phantom Gambler, a man who defied the rules of the game, leaving behind a mystery that continues to baffle and inspire. The night started like any other. Tourists filled the casino, laughter mingled with the sound of coins cascading from machines, and the air was thick with the scent of ambition. Amidst this chaos, the Phantom Gambler arrived. Dressed in simple clothing, he moved through the crowd unnoticed, slipping past dealers and players who were too engrossed in their games to recognize the aura of destiny surrounding him. His eyes scanned the floor with an intensity that suggested he was not merely a participant, but an observer, gathering intel on every player, every game, and every exit. As he navigated through the sea of neon lights and animated faces, a palpable tension built around him. There was something enigmatic in his demeanor, something that suggested he was playing a game far beyond the slot machines. The other players were fueled by adrenaline, but he was calm, calculated. He arrived at a specific slot machine, the kind that beckons hopefuls with its ever-increasing jackpot. He sat down, inserted a few crisp bills, and began to spin. Little did anyone know, he was about to alter the course of the night, and maybe even history. His fingers danced over the buttons, each press deliberate, almost methodical. As the reels began to spin, a hush fell over the nearby players. Some turned their heads, intrigued by the quiet confidence radiating from this unassuming man. The machine chimed as if it recognized the weight of the moment. In that split second, time seemed to slow down. The atmosphere thickened with anticipation, every eye now glued to him. The light from the machine flashed brighter, illuminating his face in a golden hue, as if the casino itself had chosen him as its next champion. It happened in an instant. With a symphony of lights and sounds, the machine erupted, announcing a jackpot that would change a life. The room fell silent. Witnesses watched in disbelief as the numbers rolled in and the machine blinked wildly. Here was a man who had just won 118 million, and yet he remained stoic, almost serene. He didn't leap from his seat, nor did he smile broadly. Instead, he gazed at the machine as if contemplating a complex puzzle, the enormity of the wind settling around him like a shroud. People started to gather, whisper, recording videos and speculating about the future. What would he do next? Would he bask in the glory of his newfound fortune? But the Phantom Gambler did nothing of the sort. After a moment of stillness, he stood up, leaving behind the flashing lights and the sound of the crowd. He walked away, his expression unchanged, leaving the casino staff and onlookers in a state of shock. They were expecting celebration, but all they got was a mystery. How could someone walk away from such a life-altering sum? In the days that followed, the casino was in chaos. Staff members tried to piece together what had happened, but every attempt to track him proved fruitless. The security footage captured every second of the event, yet all they had was a ghostly figure slipping into the crowd. No license plate, no hotel room booked in his name. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. The phones buzzed with frantic calls, and management gathered in panic, wondering how they could recover from such a bizarre situation. Realizing the gravity of the situation, casino management swung into action. They were determined to find the man who had claimed their jackpot and disappeared into the night. They launched an all-out investigation, scrutinizing every piece of footage, analyzing every face. As they combed through the security tapes, a story began to unfold, revealing a man who moved with purpose, someone who seemed to anticipate the chaos around him. It was as if he had orchestrated the entire night, a magician whose trick was too clever to decode. In the days following, the rumors began to swirl. Where did he go? Did he leave town? Will he come back for his winnings? The casino staff felt the pressure mounting, knowing that an unclaimed jackpot could lead to legal headaches and public relations nightmares. They were left in limbo, hoping that the phantom gambler would re-emerge and claim his prize. But as the hours turned into days, hope turned to speculation. Online forums lit up with theories about his identity and motives. Was he a high-stakes player who had mastered the art of gambling? Or perhaps a criminal mastermind who knew better than to expose himself? The whispers grew louder, and soon he was more than a man. He was a legend, a figure shrouded in intrigue. The longer he stayed away, the more mysterious he became. The casino, once a vibrant hub of excitement, was now consumed by the enigma of the phantom gambler. The fascination with the phantom gambler continued to grow. Gamblers, curious onlookers, and even psychologists began to analyze his actions. Was he simply a strategist, someone who had figured out the game and chose to walk away, leaving the system in disarray? Some argued that his rejection of the winnings was a statement against the very nature of gambling, a rebellion against the obsession with money that consumes so many. Others delved deeper into his psyche, hypothesizing that he was a man of exceptional restraint, operating under a philosophy that held material wealth as an illusion. The tales of his escape began to morph into something grander, painting him as a mythical figure who had conquered the casino's games without succumbing to the allure of wealth. He became a symbol of defiance, a beacon of hope for those tired of the endless chase for cash. In the realm of speculative narratives, he transformed into a modern-day Robin Hood, stealing the limelight but choosing not to claim the treasure. Gamblers began to view him as a kind of anti-hero, a rogue who transcended the ordinary rules of the game. Forums buzzed with theories about his potential whereabouts, and the casino industry was left grappling with an evolving narrative that seemed to take on a life of its own. Meanwhile, the casino faced a monumental dilemma. The unclaimed jackpot loomed over them like a storm cloud. They could not simply absorb the millions back into the house. The media had caught wind of the story, and they knew they had to handle it delicately. Speculations about the legality of the winnings, questions about accountability, and whispers of potential lawsuits began to flood in. As they considered their options, the casino executives felt the pressure mounting. They knew that the story of the phantom gambler could make or break their reputation. In the end, they decided to keep the money on hold, a ticking time bomb of publicity. They turned the incident into a marketing campaign, inviting players to test their luck on the very machine that had brought about the legend, hoping to recapture the magic and thrill of the original moment. In an effort to capitalize on the mystery, the casino organized events centered around the story. They created a special exhibit showcasing the machine, inviting players to come and try their luck while fueling the speculation about who the phantom gambler really was. The media frenzy surrounding the event drew in crowds, creating a buzz that echoed through the gambling community. For many, the thrill was no longer just about the money. It was about being part of a living legend. Psychologists weighed in on the phenomenon. They argued that the phantom gambler represented an anomaly in gambling behavior, someone whose motivations went beyond the norm. They suggested he could be classified as a pure gambler, one who sought thrills for the sake of the game rather than for financial gain. Perhaps he had mastered the psychological edge, recognizing that the true win lay in the experience itself, in outsmarting the game rather than merely claiming its riches. As discussions about his motivations deepened, a portrait of the phantom gambler began to emerge. He was not just a lucky winner. He was a strategist who understood the psychological underpinnings of gambling, the intricate dance between risk and reward. His choice to leave the money behind could be seen as a statement, a way of saying he was in control of his own narrative, detached from the societal pressures that come with wealth. As various profiles circulated online, some speculated that he had a background in finance, gaming theory, or psychology, areas that would have armed him with the insights necessary to navigate the complexities of gambling. Others believed he was simply an everyday man, a kind of everyman hero who had stumbled upon a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and had the clarity to understand that true freedom often lies in letting go. In the months following that fateful night, the phantom gambler became a legend, his story etched into the fabric of gambling culture. Players began to approach the tables with a newfound sense of purpose, reflecting on their own motivations and desires. The very act of gambling transformed. It became less about the winnings and more about the journey, the thrill of the game itself. Conversations about ethics, success, and happiness emerged among players. Was winning really about the money, or was it about mastering oneself? The phantom gambler had challenged everyone to rethink their relationship with gambling, igniting discussions about the deeper meanings of victory and defeat. His legacy echoed through the halls of casinos, inspiring players to adopt a more philosophical approach to the game. The impact of his story extended beyond individual players. It sparked a movement within the gambling community, one that encouraged players to find purpose in their pursuits rather than blindly chasing jackpots. Gamblers began to share their own stories of wins and losses, emphasizing the lessons learned along the way. Forums lit up with discussions about responsible gambling, the ethics of claiming large sums, and the idea of investing winnings in meaningful causes rather than succumbing to the pressures of materialism. Inspired by the phantom gambler, players started using their winnings for charitable endeavors, community projects, and personal growth. The gambling community began to view success through a new lens, one that focused on impact rather than mere accumulation. The legend of the phantom gambler had sparked a renaissance of thought, redefining what it meant to win in a world often obsessed with numbers. As we reflect on the legacy of the phantom gambler, we are faced with profound questions. What does it truly mean to win? Is it the number on a check, or the freedom to define our own paths? His story reminds us that life is not just about accumulating wealth. It's about the choices we make, the paths we walk, and the values we hold dear. In a society that often measures success by bank balances, the phantom gambler stands as a testament to the idea that true victory can come from stepping away, redefining our relationships with money and success. In a world that constantly chases material success, the phantom gambler became a myth, a figure that embodies the complexities of desire, ambition, and the human spirit. He won the ultimate prize: freedom.